Hey everybody, this is Merrick coming at you not live with another figure review, the first one in a long while. And that's not due to any fault of my own. I was just been very busy with the end of school and a bunch of other crap that's been getting in the way of me recording this. So I thought, since it was May and we had Star Wars Day as well as Revenge of the Fifth if you celebrate, I thought let's do another Star Wars figure review. And today I actually managed to open a thing that was in my collection for a little bit. So today I bring you the comic pack of Deena, Shan, and Luke Skywalker in special Rebel gear. Okay, so long story short, for Christmas, the video that, one of the figures that sort of inspired me to go back to getting into these again a little bit more for this year was that little Power Rangers figure that I got. But I also received this Luke Skywalker in a lot of figures somebody bought for me, I believe off of the Facebook Marketplace. And I've always kind of wanted this Luke because he's got like this Rebel Specialist gear on, and I was surprised to find him in like that package. So the thing is though, is that I'm going to take him off screen for a sec. I'm going to take him off screen for a sec just because I want to like reorient myself. The odd thing about this is that when I got him, of course, he's a lot of figures. He didn't come with his lightsaber. He didn't come with a gun. So I had to like sort of armor him up and get him like equipped and whatnot. So neither, as you can see, based off of the actual figures that, came out of the box, this is not the same accessories. He's actually also missing an accessory. As if you notice here, where is it? It's probably not going to show up because it's like very black. There's a hole there, and you would connect it to his belt. You get a silver pipe for oxygen tanks and whatnot, which is kind of cool. So that didn't come with that figure because, of course, that was secondhand. So I saw somebody selling it for $40. I said, you know what? I got the money from Christmas. I'm going to drop it, and I'm going to pick up the 2 set. So today, here we are. This is the set. And to be honest, for comic pack figures, so you get like, comic pack figures are odd. They range in quality. And I think that these ones are very okay. Luke looks a little strange. And that's really only because down to like Luke's. Luke's. Oh god. My brain is melting. I might be coming down with something. I'm not sure. Come on, focus, baby. So yeah, Luke kind of looks odd. Come on. Like he's got like a giant head and he looks very like meaty. I don't know. His face looks buff to me, and it's just odd. Very broad and whatnot. And Deena kind of suffers from, like, a little bit of paint oddities, but she looks okay. That's, like, the thing, though, is that, like, that's all I could really, like, ask for with figures like these, is that they just look okay, because their posability and, like, the armor are really the draws for me. And honestly, too, like, Deena, this is being the only Deena Shan figure, that's, like, the big thing. But before we really talk about, like, that and size comparisons and other shit, I might as well just talk about the box real quick. So, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. And here we have the comic pack box. So, very generic, without the comic book inside, which you can see here. I'm just going to move that away for a sec, so that's not, like, taking up the frame, but I'll show that on camera in a sec, too. But yeah, very bland. You can see the names of the characters: Star Wars, Rebellion number 3, Luke Skywalker, and Deena Shan. She actually looks really good in this panel, like, for the realistic art. On the back, blah, 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 there's a blurb. All the good stuff, all the interesting stuff, whatever others in the wave. I actually have this guy out of this. No, who is that? Is that... I believe that is Wedge. I might want to get that Wedge for, like, something, because most of the Wedges that we have are in, like, pilot gear. So I'd like to have, because he's a Rebel agent, so it'd be different to have him like that. I got this one, and I had this one as a kid, but there's a better Quinlan Voss figure now, so this was, like, the only way I know you could get him with, like, this comic pack way back in the day. But without the comic, as you can sort of see, this box is very generic, also without the figures in there. It looks very bland. But with that being said, let's take a look at the comic real quick, and I'll do like a mini review of that. So here's the comic. Whoop. The comic looks cool. The cover looks sick, but I'm gonna be honest here. Nothing that happens on the cover really happens in the book. And this is an odd choice, number 3, for like something to introduce these characters. But I think they really only did it just to give us like the armor sets on the figure, which look fucking sick. Let's be real here. The comic itself is okay. It starts with a pretty intense scene of Darth Vader dominating somebody's mind, and then there's like a freaking violent killing. Deena almost gets strangled to death by the dude who had his mind dominated by Vader. And it gets pretty fucking... It's not super intense, but that's like the really only heavy part. Everything else is like Luke is trying to get his friend from the Empire, and it's a nice little story. Nothing too crazy, but I kind of wish like I had the whole set. Like, honestly, a trade paperback of Star Wars Rebellion would be fun to read through, just with the taste of what this comic gave me. So, odd choice, but I think they only really did it for the armor set, which isn't a bad idea, in fairness, because, you know, just look at this armor. And that's the main draw I had to this set for me, was this Rebellion Commando Specialist armor. Look at that. The black with the bronze trim. Whoop. Come on, focus, camera. It doesn't like the fact. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit. Whoop. Don't want the camera to fall for me. Ha. I'll zoom in a little bit so that it's not picking up Jar Jar, because he's kind of causing some problems, unfortunately. No. Bad Jar Jar. Sorry. But either way, the armor on them looks fucking sick. I love the silver paint detail on the Rebellion logo. I love the little blue on the communicator. It's very reminiscent of Clone Trooper armor in that factor. It's form-fitting on Deena, funnily enough, and there's a boob window. Typical of female characters at the time, I guess. I don't know. And on Luke, it's the full set. Looks rather sick, and there's the silver pipe that goes into the belt and into the back there. Up, popped out. That's another problem I have with like figures from these older waves too, a little bit, is that when they give you accessories like this, the hoses tend to pop out. I got that problem with my dirges, so it is what it is, but it looks cool and makes the figures look even sicker. So really, for odd face sculpts and paint, you get some really nice armor on these dudes. And I do gotta say though, Deena here, out of a bunch of other comic back figures, specifically like females that I have like the Delilah Blue one that came with Cade Skywalker, I believe, or did Cade come with whatever, fuck it. I can't remember which comic packs come with everybody sometimes. So I got the Delilah Blue figure. Delilah Blue, she cannot stand on her own. I actually needed to give her a stand. So it's nice to see that Deena here can stand on her own. And actually, that helps because these guys can pose very well. Like, they got everything at the time. They got, like, the ball joint at the shoulders. They got, I believe, a ball joint in the... Whoop, uh-oh. Almost lost his gun. That would have been bad. The main draw for this figure. I'll go over the accessories in a second. But they got, like... Take out the accessories on him for a sec. But yeah, they got, like, ball joints at the wrists and elbows. Well, no, not at the wrist. They got, like, a swivel at the wrist. Ball joints at the elbows. Ball joints there. I'm not going to go over it. You know the freaking typical stuff from this time period. Ball joints at the knees. A swivel hip. And, yeah, they got, like... I think that's a swivel and ball joint at the ankle a little bit. So, yeah, you got some decent ankle pivots and whatnot, too. So, neat. The only thing they don't have is an ab crunch, but they do have a swivel, which is nice. So... That's really all you can ask for from a figure like this, especially at this time. So Luke was my testing dummy because he's kind of, again, he's broad and meaty, and in all fairness, when I was taking some photography of them, like, before I was messing around for the video, I kind of got him in, like, a sort of stance that the characters in the KOTOR, like, light side, dark side menu do, which looked pretty cool. And I kind of did that as, like, the default gearing up pose. Again, I know I'm not messing around with, like, Deena too much, but really we just got to appreciate the fact that she could stand up on her own. So, yeah, I'm just going to take a look at the armor again. The form fit, whatever the frick. Nice armor, cool blues. I wish the Rebellion had more standardized gear for their troops because it would make them look nice and, like, you know... uniform, I guess, for easier figure and army building. It's odd. But I'm not going to talk about that rant right now, because I just want to go over, like, the coolness of these figures and the accessories. So I'm not going to go over everybody's accessory, because here's the gun. They both come with this. I assume it's typical of the armor set that this basically comes with it, so I'm just going to say this is a Rebel Commando pistol, which looks pretty neat. Kind of looks like a tinier version of Han's blaster, but without the scope, or a smaller scope. You can actually get him to hold it well in two hands, but, you know, typically when you get a Jedi and it comes with a gun, you want to use both because it just looks cool that way. Here's the lightsaber. It doesn't look like Anakin's. It looks a little odd. I guess they just had like a leftover, or they just threw like a random mold in. Because I do have like Anakin's lightsaber on the one that I got for Christmas that I just had left over from older figures that broke on me. Oops, sorry. It looks pretty nice on him too. But again, that's not what it comes with. But the thing I really like about this, though, I love how blue this blade is. Like, legit, I love when they do, like, deep colors for lightsabers. It just looks really nice. Alright, come on, focus. Damn you, camera. There we go. It just looks really nice and makes it, like, so fucking, like, it gives, like, that essence of, like, that deep color that a lightsaber can potentially be. So I'm just going to gear him back up real quick, because I kind of want to do like a quick size comparison for a couple of figures at the time and a little before the time. I didn't manage to bring out any of the modern stormtroopers or clone troopers that I have. So, oh yeah, by the way too, like I said, just messing with him, the tube in his back popped out again, so it's odd, but it is what it is. I think also, like, messing around with, like, his, see what I mean? Maybe I should put that in the holster for, like, now, just to do, like, the size comparison real quick. So, just get him as much of a neutral stance as I can possible. I'm gonna pose him again when I put them back on my shelf. But just zoom back out a little bit, get some room. Whoop, that's zooming in. Camera, don't do this to me. Please. Cooperate for once. I think it's just some other problems I gotta upgrade this thing. But we'll worry about that later. Let me just get Deena in a sort of casual pose too. And we'll do a quick size comparison. Wish I brought... Again, there's not a lot of, like, easy to grab female Star Wars figures for size comparison for her. And again, I don't feel like taking down Delilah Blue because, you know, she don't like to stand up. So here we go. Again, in all of her amazing glory, Deena stands up on her own. That's an achievement in and of itself. But for now, here we go. Quick size comparison to Commander Faye, which was a character that came out in the same toy line. I think he's taller, and that's only because of the helmet. He's taller than Delilah. I mean, I almost call that. He's taller than Deena. Jeez. And he's taller than Luke, but I think that's because of the helmet. Let me take the helmet and the hood off. Let's see. They're about the same size. Might be a better comparison. He's still a little taller. Interesting. Cool. And last but not least, my other go-to is the Shadow Utapau Trooper. Or the Shadow Clone Trooper. Damn, he's a fucking giant compared to them. Oh, jeez. I want to run it. It's funny, too, because, like, their armor was sort of based on this guy's armor coloring, I guess. As well as the, specifically the armor sets that the airborne troopers wore. So it's kind of funny that he's, like, a giant compared to them. And I guess it does bring new terms to the words. You're a little short for a stormtrooper, at least on Luke's case. But even so, like, despite, like, the sort of bumbling size, well... Again, like, Luke was never that, like, big to begin with. Again, it's odd. Trying to, like, compare sizes of, like, people, action figures, and whatnot. It's odd. Especially in Star Wars, because there's aliens that can be, like, huge, like Jar Jar. It's, like, fucking humongous in comparison. Aw. You're a little short for a stormtrooper. Ah. Either way. Whatever the frick. It's a little odd to think about, but despite their smaller size in comparison, like I guess a stormtrooper or clone trooper, these figures are pretty good. Again, this isn't the time period for these figures right now, so I'm a little more. Of course, Jar Jar had to do that to whatever. You go off to the side. This isn't the time period for these figures to release now, so I'm way more lax on it than like I'd say, oh, these figures are an abomination to mankind. I didn't get them at the time because I was more into the Clone Wars stuff than I was getting into like this. But this is like, these are pretty good for what they are. Again, if it wasn't for the armor and if it wasn't for Deena, I probably wouldn't have gotten them. Hell, if I didn't get this guy for Christmas, I probably wouldn't have gotten them because I just got to see the armor up close and I'm like, ooh, I fell in love with this look. I did have a conversation with a friend though that like we did sort of like think about that aspect of it does kind of make them look like the baddies. But that's the whole thing about like when you think about the Rebel Alliance is that like they're technically fighting the Authority. We know the Authority is evil, but like my homies agree they do look good in black. Even if it does give off like the bad person vibes. And I wouldn't mind if Hasbro was able to make like some more Legends or Expanded Universe figures. We'd actually get some Rebel tactical troopers like this. Or fuck if they bring over the designs for like the Specialist troopers and we get new figures of those. That would be kind of sick. But considering the way that like action figure prices are going, oh no. I don't know how well that would be. But I don't want to turn this into like a mini rant about like current events. There's better people to talk about that stuff. I'm just here to have some fun with like some figures that I like. And you know what? Despite them not living up to some typical standards of now, these are still pretty good figures with some really nice posability. Like seriously, you saw the thumbnail. You saw what I got these in. I shared some pictures on Discord, but I should post them to social media like before this video goes up. So take a look at Blue Sky and you'll see it. You'll see some of the photos I took of them, and you'll see what I mean. But anyway, guys, thank you guys for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed, and remember, be yourselves in peace. See ya.